Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. It is Attorney Kevin. We got another episode of the Not an Accident podcast, episode 37, and we got my boy, Mr. Anthony Bertoncin in the house. What's up? Woo! The crowd goes a live studio audience. Woo! I'm just kidding. We are at the MMG studios as usual, but thank you, my friend. Appreciate you coming on.
No problem. I appreciate you having me, brother.
We've been friends for a while now, and obviously hung out many a times and mutual friends. Obviously following your content. I know you've crushed it. I know your story, and we're going to dig into that. But really, we've been trying to get you on for a minute. After the TE event, though, the Tampa Entrepreneurs, the TE talks that just went on about social media, I'm like, we got to get you on ASAP after your presentation. I mean, that was absolutely fire. So you own a social media agency. You basically specialize in making people go viral. So
100%.
Tell me about, kind of how that started. We don't go into too much backstory, but you have a very interesting backstory from living it, and I won't get into it. You get into it. Go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, long story short, how the agency kind of spawned was I've just been making content for the last 13 years. Started when I was 11 years old, making YouTube videos, gaming videos that slowly transitioned into vlogs, into prank videos, into travel videos. Whatever was kind of trending at the time is what I transitioned into and started trying just because I had the goal of becoming a content creator. Long story short, the first thing that worked out for me was when I started making the travel videos, got an opportunity to move across the country, live with a bunch of entrepreneurs. And when that business opportunity kind of fell through after a year, I had no choice but to move back home with my mom, was out of money. I had dropped out of school to pursue that opportunity. And when I came home, I really had no other option but to start making content. And that's really quickly when I built 2 million followers in 12 months.
It's incredible.
Literally first month, 30,000 followers, month 3, 100,000, month 6 million. And then after 12 months, had about 2 million followers. So was a full-time content creator for about 2 years. I did the brand deals with all the big major companies, was signed to talent agencies with some of the most popular TikTok influencers in the country. And because of that success is, long story short, how the agency spawned. I got asked by a bunch of businesses just to help with social media stuff. And long story short, when they started offering me retainers to just make TikToks, I said yes. And here we are 3 years later and dozens of clients later.
So I want to circle back a little bit and not to get too intimate, but I hope you're willing to share. You're 25, 26 years old?
26.
A lot of times that when we talk to people, and they're, you'll see their stories on social media, they're, 35, 40, 50. Can you kind of talk about the mindset? You got, kicked in the rear end, had to move back in with mom. How do you recommend the younger generation, kind of pick themselves back up when life throws something at them?
Long story short, I've always taken life as, life is happening for you, not to you. I think that's a Tony Robbins quote, but I've literally lived by that motto since I was 19. I always had the ambition of becoming an entrepreneur and content creator. And when you're young, the first thing you got to realize is you just got to try as much different shit as possible. Stick to something for maybe 3 to 6 months, see where it leads. Maybe you get a little traction, maybe you don't. But God's always guided me down the right path. If something didn't work out, I fluidly transitioned into this next thing. For example, with Arizona, when I moved across the country with those entrepreneurs, I was there for a year, made a bunch of connections. And then when it failed, went home and just fluidly got into just continuing to make content for myself. That worked, grew. And then because of that success, the agency kind of started naturally. So I was kind of, naturally drawn down this
Bobbing
path.
and weaving.
Yeah, exactly. But if I didn't start trying shit, it wouldn't have happened. So for anybody that's out there that's wanting to pursue something greater, maybe they're stuck in a 9 to 5 or they're a teenager trying to get out of the house or whatever, something piques your interest, just go with it until, you either hit a roadblock or it starts working out.
How hard was it to stay self-motivated? Because you didn't have a boss and you're a young guy.
That part was tough, especially because initially in my household, my siblings and my parents were not very supportive of, me doing what I was trying to do. They were like, you got to go to college. Neither of my parents went to college. So when I had that opportunity, they were like, dude, fucking take it. We've been dreaming for this moment. So when I didn't do that, it shook them a little bit. So a lot of the self-motivation came from obviously my faith and then just reading a bunch of self-development books. I also was super grateful to have gotten the opportunity at a young age to move across the country and start working with successful entrepreneurs because, when I was 18, that's when that happened. And when I moved over to Arizona, I wasn't making any money. I was maybe making $3,000 a month max from freelancing. but I was around a bunch of kids my age making multi six figures. There was my friend Caleb Maddox, who was 16 and he was worth multi seven figures, had written like 5 books already.
Insane.
Fucking insane. So I got a little taste of the success that
I
was
hate all of
possible.
those kids. I hate you
Yeah.
all. Yeah, no, I'm totally kidding. Yeah, I see you see the kids on Instagram, and it's
Yeah.
like, I made, whether it's real or not, I made $200,000 this month, and I'm like, man,
Fuck.
nice,
Yeah,
dude.
these fucking
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
It's getting
he's killing
easier
it.
and easier with social
It's
media.
so crazy, right?
Yeah.
So we'll definitely get into that. So, but you had all these opportunities, you took advantage, you had a dream, you followed your faith, and in the end, it all worked out, really.
Yeah. It all worked out. I got led down the right path. And one of the I mean, going back to the self-motivation part, it's like even when I always think of life as kinda like a sine wave,
Mhm,
most of the time, at least for most people. You'll be at a bottom and then you get a little bit of traction, you're high on life, and then you kind of almost self-sabotage your way back down until you
mhm,
realize that you're in that cycle and can kind of escape it. But for most people, I feel like they start out like that. And for me, over the last 7 years, that probably happened 2 or 3 times where, I got to a new level and then dipped down. I'm like, "Shit, dude, life sucks. I'm fucked." And, in those moments is where, it's hard to kinda give advice on it if you haven't been through it, but for me, it's just like I after the first time, I knew where I was, and I knew that within the next, 90 to 160 days or whatever, that I was gonna be out of that, and I was gonna be at a new point where, I was gonna reach the top of the next sine wave.
The biggest thing for me, I've been very fortunate to, achieve a lot of success at a young age, and, most recently, probably within the last year, um, Bill Ackman, I've been following him, Perishing Squares, big hedge fund guy, love him or hate him. I know everybody obviously has their opinions on different folks, but one of the things that he said, and I watched the podcast on him, he was talking about saying, I was going through a divorce where my wife was asking for twice what my net worth even was. My fund is like, I made some, bad hedges or whatever, bad investments. I'm getting, withdrawals left and right. Life's pretty rough for me. And he
Mhm.
said, all I could do at that point was just take it a day at a time and get a little bit better every day.
Yeah.
And I think when you are going through something, it's not healthy to look a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. Look a day down the road. Look a
Yeah.
week down the road. Like you said, look a month or 2 months or 3 months down the road.
Yeah.
Start making little improvements every day, and those things are going to compound.
Oh, 100%. I mean, something I didn't mention was like during that kind of transition period from Arizona to starting TikTok to my agency, I probably did 75 hard like for 5 years straight.
Oh, yeah.
Like I did it 1 or 2 times a year for 5 years straight. And going back to just daily wins, like that was the number one reason I was doing it was because of the momentum I was building from, doing my 2 workouts, drinking my gallon of water, doing my 10 pages of reading, my self-development photo every single day. That momentum carried into, not only my personal life, obviously, but my business. Like,
My life was never the same after that.
yeah.
Once I did 75 hard, that I was never the same after that. I mean, I was so dialed and locked in that time period. I mean, it was insane. And then, I haven't drank in 14 months. I mean, not because, again, I always say not because I had issues and, well wishes to those people that, do have alcohol issues. But it was just never the same. I mean, I was just like, I just want to be as dialed as possible.
Yeah.
So I imagine, when you're getting started as an influencer and things, you had all this fancy equipment and you had a filmer and you had maybe not. Tell me about when you're getting started. Do you need fancy equipment and do you need a filmer and do you need an editor and all this? How does
Yeah.
I would imagine the answer is no.
The answer is definitely no.
Okay,
That's like one of the biggest limiting beliefs. I feel like people,
and I would imagine it's the number one.
oh,
Well, I don't have a filmer. I
yeah,
don't know how to edit.
yeah. I hear it all the time, and it's one of those things that just stops people from creating content. You do not need the best equipment in the world, the 4K cameras, these nice microphones, the nice podcast setup to start making content. When I was making videos in, my room initially on TikTok, I think I was using my iPhone, 11 at the
Yeah.
time. And I was just talking to the camera. Like I would hold my phone up, swing it around, and talk to my iPhone, and then cut it up and post it with some text on the screen. And that's initially what got me to 1 million followers in 6 months. I think actually, this is a fact. All of my videos where I would use a 4K camera and like nice microphones, nice lighting, all this shit, they always did fucking worse than when I
Right?
very minimal effort on my iPhone.
It's like the most frustrating thing ever.
Yeah.
Like I'll, post some shout out my boy Filmer Jonas helps me with a lot of my stuff.
Yep.
And he'll go with his fancy camera gear and we'll do like a whole like session and stuff like that. And I'll do well.
It doesn't work.
And then I'll do some like random video where I'm just ranting for 30 seconds
Yep.
and it's like all these views. I'm like, I love you and I hate you all at the same time,
Uh-huh.
audience. Like, you're killing me right now.
Yeah. No, my most viewed video is, like, around 50 million views. I have 2 around 50 million views. Both of them took me 2 minutes to make in my car with an iPhone.
Dude, I just got 100,000 views. My wife's always getting the family B-roll behind the scenes
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Kevin got moved up in swim class. My son, little Kevin, got moved up in
Nice.
swim class, and he like celebrated, and they ring like a cowbell. 100,000 views.
Fuck yeah.
I'm like, awesome,
It's the
but
simple shit.
well, he's way cuter than me. I mean, I get
Yeah.
that. So, but you don't need all this fancy stuff. You just need to get started. And with that being said, this is, obviously mainly for business owners and things like that, and a little bit of personal brand as well. But why is it so important for business to have a strong social media presence? And I want to really, can you break that down and define that a little better? Meaning, not just I have a social media profile.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a strong one. So to kind of break
Yeah.
that down, what
So
that means.
yeah, so I'll go over a couple of reasons why you should be posting actively on social media as a business nowadays. The first and foremost is if you're not posting on social media regularly, you're essentially the world's best kept secret, right?
Wow.
That's how you're staying in front of people's faces all the time. Like, you could obviously be spending money on ads, stuff like that, but posting's for free, and you can be posting, once a day or 3 times a week, and you're still staying in front of people's faces because they're seeing your content actively every single week. So that's first and foremost. If you're a realtor, for example, and you're trying to sell houses or buy houses, not everybody is buying and selling a house, every single fucking day. A lot of them think that. But if you're making videos on social media talking about real estate, maybe you're even just making videos with your family, trying different restaurants in Tampa, you're staying in front of people's faces. So when it does come time for them to want to sell a house or buy a house, you've been in front of your face the whole time on social media, and you're going to be the first person that they think about when they go to sell or buy that house. In terms of, other things, in terms of other reasons that businesses should be on social media making content, the next thing is getting organic business and opportunities that you never would have thought possible otherwise. You get in front of people's faces. You have no idea who's watching the content that you are posting. We have a client locally here in Tampa, just using this as an example, called Overtime Men's Health. And we got in contact with Dan Bilzerian, somebody with 30 million plus followers, probably like 40, 50 if you count all of his platforms, one of the most famous, male influencers on the planet. And he reached out to us organically, a small brick and mortar business in Tampa, Florida, because he saw our content. We ended up flying out to his house, working with him, gave him some treatments, all this other shit, which never would have happened if we weren't posting content. We've worked with tons of other influencers. I have another real estate agent here recently that got DM'd by Rod Wave, a hip hop artist with like 5 million followers, that literally just said, "I'm trying to build my real estate portfolio." And that was like the first fucking message. And that hints that he's trying to buy multiple
Which is
houses.
insane.
Yeah. So that agent is super hyped that he's now, has a celebrity client that he can buy multiple houses from or get multiple houses from. And then if we're getting a little more technical, a lot of the times when you're making social media content, it also performs super well as ad creatives because it's already optimized to perform well organically. So when you tweak the copy, tweak the call to action just a little bit, and you start running it as meta ads, your KPIs, I guarantee you, will drop significantly. Before we started with overtime, just to keep it linear with that example, I think they were getting like an $80 cost per lead, $60 to $80, somewhere in there. That's pretty typical for the men's health space, especially like game day locations. We got it down to like $7, like $4 to $7 per lead. And the cost per acquisition ended up being what their original cost per lead was, just because we were using the social media content as ad creatives. So by making content, you're staying in front of potential clients, you're attracting new potential clients, you're getting in contact with people that you never would have thought imaginable, and you're also getting a bunch of ad creatives that you can then run to lower all your KPIs to get a more immediate return. So that's why you should be making content.
That's the long and short of it. And it doesn't have to be overly complicated, especially in the beginning. The real estate's kind of the easiest thing. Take a picture of the house you're showing. If you're doing a sick house, do a 30-second reel just walking
Exactly.
around. You
Exactly.
don't have to hire some, and that's really what I want to get across to the audience is like, stop the limiting beliefs. Stop thinking that you have to put on, the next Oscar winning, reel. All
Mhm.
you need to do is just start.
Yeah.
Figure out what your audience wants, and then as you start getting, momentum, start getting funds to, spend on marketing, make it a little better and make it a little better and make it a little bit better.
Yep.
But you don't have to go and spend thousands and dollars on some creative team just on a whim.
Yeah.
So, unless it's with Anthony, because he knows what he's
Unless it's
doing.
with me, then we'll handle it.
Exactly. I'm just getting started. Where do I begin in the social media process? And you could probably take that in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So if you're just getting started on social media, first thing that I would do is make an account on every social media profile. Like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok are like the main five for video content. Some people will say that it's not important to post to every social media platform. You should pick one and specialize in that one. But going back to realtors, we've had realtors where we'll post a video on Instagram, it gets 8,000 views, and then the same exact video that we just took an extra 2 minutes to post on Facebook got 20 million fucking views.
Yep. I've
And it
had it
took 2
happen.
minutes. It took
I've
2
had it happen.
minutes and 10,000 followers later on Facebook. That would have never happened if we didn't post there. So the first thing is post on every social platform. If you're spending the time to make a video, it's your time, your effort. You want it to perform the best it possibly can. So post everywhere. The second thing is come up with a initial content strategy. If you're a personal brand, this is getting into a little bit of what I talked about
Yeah.
at the TE Talk stuff. If you're a personal brand, pick 5 areas of your personality that you can kind of document and make content in. If we're using me for an example, I'll say like business, I'll say my relationship, my faith, maybe traveling and videography, photography are kind of like 5 of my main passions, maybe fitness. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 5 keywords for each of those. They can be super broad. So for fitness, if we're using that, it could literally just be fitness. It could be exercise. It could be workout. It could be CrossFit, calisthenics, just super broad things that I can search on every single platform. And on Instagram and TikTok, when you're searching those keywords, you have the option to essentially see the top performing content that is based around those keywords. So if I search the word fitness on Instagram and TikTok, I'm going to get a handful of viral videos that pop up. On Instagram, it'll pop up naturally. On TikTok, you hit the little filter button in the top right hand corner and you can filter by the like count in the last like 6 months or like of all time. And when you do that, you're just going to start scrolling through all of these already proven viral videos and find ones that you think you can just remake. Maybe you have footage in your camera roll that you can repurpose and structure, like that one that you just saw. Or maybe like, oh, this is super cute with this guy and his girl in the gym. I can easily do this with my girlfriend next week when we go to the gym. Just start taking note of things that you think you could possibly remake. And that's literally all you really have to do to at least get started is pick those 5, find the 5 keywords for each of the 5 niches, and then go find all these videos between Instagram and TikTok that you think you can repurpose and remake. If you're a business owner now, you can essentially do the same thing, but your niches are going to be your 5 most popular services. The rest of the process is the exact same. Another thing, if that sounds too complicated, even for some business owners, maybe they're stretched for time, hire a videographer or somebody to come film you every once in a while, mic you up, and just document what you're doing on a regular basis. Gary Vee talks about this a lot. I do it a lot with blue collar companies just because they're always on, different job sites doing things. They don't have time to talk to the camera or, do TikToks. So we'll mic them up, record everything they're doing, maybe ask them a couple questions. Like if I'm a roofer and, they're on a roof doing something, like, what are you doing? Oh, we're looking for storm hail damage so that we can get this insurance claim for this homeowner so we can get them a new roof. That's all you got to do. Document what you're doing because you can turn that into content that's consumable online and just clip it up into little entertaining clips that you think would appeal to a broad audience.
Please go back and watch that because that's probably one of the most important parts of the podcast today is that whole breakdown, that decision tree, almost, what is it, a tree graph or something like that we
I
used to call
use
in
like a
school?
tree graph
Yeah.
just because it's the easiest
So,
to,
I mean, that's how
yeah.
you break it down, do the, next one, break it down to the next 5. So, but please go back and watch that because that's one of the primary reasons I wanted to bring Anthony on the podcast because it was just a very simple, easy,
Yeah.
reward winning way of going about finding ways to create content and post that on social media.
Yeah. And just to stress the importance of that real quick, like over the last 3 years of my agency, I've worked with probably every fucking niche you can imagine at this point, whether it's roofers, plumbers, realtors, entrepreneurs, chefs, men's health clinics, med spas, like you name it, we've probably done it. Even plastic surgeries. I've filmed like a breast, implant before. We've done everything. And that, structure I mentioned with the 5 niches or the 5 niches, the 5 keywords, and then finding those video structures on TikTok and Instagram is what we start with every single one of these clients. And it works for literally every single one of them. I think at the event, I popped up a screenshot of like 12 different niches that all had gone
Yeah.
viral. It's all from just doing that one strategy.
And again, because 1, 2, 3, 5 posts don't work,
Mhm.
don't stop.
Yeah.
6th could work, the 8th could work, the 10th could work.
Yeah.
It happens. And all of a sudden it's like 1,000, 5 million,
Yeah.
1,000, 2
Do
million.
you remember a couple years ago the
Well, just the suiting one. What's his name that you guys are doing now? For
oh, Kyle?
yeah. Super good
Yeah.
dude. Very, very nice guy.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of his, and he's already and
Oh,
I
first
don't know.
month.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not even through the first month yet.
Crushing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like, I know I've seen it. Yeah, it's like, I'm like, and it's like simple, like how to tie a tie, and it's like
Mhm.
100,000 views.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That one hit 1,000,000 on
did
Instagram.
it already hit a million?
Yeah,
Yeah,
got
yeah, that's what
1,000,000
I'm
on
saying. Like, it
Instagram.
was insane numbers and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
But
it's crazy.
I do wanna stress on that point, though.
Please.
Do you remember a couple years ago, the Latino guy that was riding on a longboard on the side of the highway drinking ocean spray,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
singing?
Yeah.
I think there was something that came out, he did an interview or something. I think he posted 800 videos before that one,
Yeah.
and that was the first one that had actually gone viral. And when it did went
And it changed
viral,
his life.
got billions of views. I think he got a truck out of that,
Yeah.
like, Ocean Spray sent him a bunch of shit, and his life was completely changed, but he posted 800 videos first. So, like, even if you don't, go viral first month, like, some of my clients, it's, virality first month, first week, first video sometimes, but sometimes it's a snowball effect like that, and that could just be, like, your account, and maybe you just gotta build yourself out of this little phase, but social media is a snowball effect. The longer you do it, the more consistent you do it, the bigger, the result's gonna be at the end.
I might butcher this, but what is it? I want to say it Einstein that invented the light bulb?
Pretty
And
sure, yeah.
yeah, don't
I dropped out.
yeah, fact check me on that. I feel like I wasn't a history major. Anyway, it was they asked him, or there was a quote. It goes, you failed making the light bulb,
Yeah.
1,000 times. Do you regret it? And he goes, no, I just figured out 999 ways to not make a light bulb. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So one of the things, again, another limiting belief that I want you to talk about. I'm in a boring profession. I'm a
Mhm.
lawyer. I'm a dentist. I'm a
Okay.
doctor. I'm not glamorous like real estate or being a chef with food. How do I turn that into something that people are going to watch?
Did you go to my FAQ on my website for this shit?
No.
Questions?
Swear to God, I was
These are
sitting in the car, and I
a
was
lot of
literally
these are
sitting in the car. Well,
it's
no, I
funny.
mean, I
No, they're
write
good.
all of the
They're good.
questions, and I've always said I'm very selfish on the podcast, meaning
Yeah.
I just think of the things that I wanted to know, and then
Well, no, these are, like, literally some of the FAQs we
yeah,
have on the website. Yeah, so as I mentioned briefly, I kinda brushed over it, but, like,
calling me
we've
out.
worked with
Jeez, man.
plumbers. Like, we've
Yeah,
worked with plumbers with plastic surgery. Like, plumbers are they're disgusting, they're gross, like, what are they doing? They're fixing
nice
sinks and
guys.
picking up shit and stuff. Like, we still got them to go viral. Like, 5 to 10,000,000 views first month, 10,000 followers first month. The opportunity here's the thing. If you're in what you consider, like, a boring industry, like, let's just use blue collar, for example, because a lot of the times I've heard that it's from blue collar companies. Roofers are like, "Why do I gotta be on TikTok?" Or solar guys, same thing. But here's the thing, there's no competition on
Yeah,
social media. Like, you have tons of realtors making social media content all the fucking time. But
it's a really good point. Yeah,
plumbers, the times we've had the most success with clients are when they are in an industry where there's no fucking pre-existing content online. Like, we gotta kinda come up with a content strategy on our own, and most of the time, that content strategy, what I mentioned earlier, it's just miking them up and recording them and then turning what they're doing into content online. Because, with these plumbers, these roofers, with these solar guys, any of the door-to-door people, there's no content. So as soon as we start, making entertaining content within those industries that's actually like kind of consumable to a broad audience, it pops the fuck off. Because first of all of the people that are in those industries, they don't get to follow anybody online that's making content because nobody's making content. So when somebody starts doing it well, all of the people there start following that account. Like in roofing situation, when we started doing that, we started being able to recruit people just because of all the sales guys that started following us for just like how we were making videos about, insurance claims with storm damage, or with plumbers, how we were doing excavation in like, homeowners' basements and shit. So if you think your business is boring, trust me, you have a fucking huge opportunity. Like, there's a
yeah.
blue ocean on social media, especially if nobody's
So
making
it's almost the
content.
more boring is the more opportunity.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you can crack the code to like, and here's how I did it with the roofing.
And it
Like,
doesn't mean you have to go and like, oh, they're going to make me do a TikTok dance then.
yeah, no,
You're
it's not
like,
that.
no.
No,
And that's what I want to get across to the people. Like, you don't have to do the like, nonsensical, viral stuff to
yeah,
go viral. I
yeah,
mean, you can have some
100%.
professionalism to it.
Yeah, and all you need is that, and then if you have a personality, it makes it 10 times easier. Because
Yeah.
like, I'll use 2 examples. Like with roofing, when I originally signed that client, I didn't know shit about roofing. Like, my dad didn't really teach me to hold a hammer or change a tire or anything, so like, I didn't know anything about roofing. I just followed around the owner of the business for like 5 days straight, figured out everything about the roofing industry, like how to do insurance claims, how to find hail damage on roofs, different types of shingles, all this shit. And what I stumbled upon was like the most entertaining part, at least to me, somebody that didn't know the industry, was when they would go door knock because, it's essentially, it kind of looks like a prank video. Like,
Yeah.
I'm waiting in the car while this guy goes and, does his sales pitch at the door. And all we did was mic him up and have a hidden camera, and we turned the door to door sales pitches into content. So they can knock hundreds of doors a day, and every single interaction, you don't know what can happen. They could literally just get someone to go tell them to fuck themselves, or they get an inspection, and then we get like a $40,000 roof job, and then that's a whole title of itself. So we can make a video out of it. So they get to do what they're doing on a regular basis, and we're also getting content out of it. So it's like it's a win-win. And then just using another example, there's this kid on Instagram right now. I forget his name, but he's like 18 or 19. He does sales calls where he just records himself calling people.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wears a suit or something. Usually, sometimes it's a suit, but he's always playing like some really badass hip hop music at the beginning. And as soon as the homeowner picks up, he goes like that. He stops. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Sanchez, how's it going?" And then he does this. Most of the time, it's really bad. I think he does it kind of bad on purpose for these social media
Yeah.
clips. And then when he gets rejected on the clip, he just like hangs up and then he plays the music and he just starts vibing and dancing in. The kid has like a couple 100,000 or a couple 100,000 followers now and has this whole team, this whole thing built out just from his social media where he's just recording himself cold calling. Like that's it. He's just sitting at a desk. So whether you're in a boring industry or, and you're, maybe blue collar or you're in a boring industry and you just have an office job, I promise there's some area of your business that you can, whether it's using your personality or just documenting that can perform well on social media.
One of the things that I've seen, there's this guy in California, and we've sent a couple messages back and forth. I can't think of his name right now. Nice, I mean, nice enough we message. He calls clients at the end of the case and tells them what their settlements are.
Oh,
Like,
that's
hey,
sick.
we settled.
Yeah.
Hey, we got you the $100,000, 200 million, whatever, and like all of them go viral. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like blown up and stuff like that. I get a
I
little.
love that idea.
Yeah, it's a super good idea. I'm a little back and forth on it. One, because I don't really want to. He's pretty well known for it,
Disclose
so I
all
don't
of
want
it.
to like say, yeah, and then the disclose. I obviously get the client's permission to post and stuff like that, but I'm
Yeah.
still kind of, But
Yep.
super good idea, like stuff like that. I mean, and then eventually you find your niche that works for you. Like there's that other, that attorney with the suspenders that like dances for his office and has the whole
Yeah.
Zoom office and stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
that. People have sent me that. They're like, you should do that. I'm like,
Hmm.
that's kind of his shtick, though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you almost want to do where, when you find the stuff that works, when you're in a boring industry, you don't want to do the same thing that the only guy that's doing that is doing that either.
Well, that's
It goes back
debatable.
and forth.
It's
Yeah.
debatable because you could do it better. There's
Okay.
ways to
Fair
make
enough.
it better. Like when we started the door-to-door thing with I'm not gonna say we started it, but we were very early, if not the first people to start doing that mic'd up door-to-door kind of shit with a hidden camera. And now like every door-to-door company on the planet does that on social media.
I believe it. I
Yeah.
believe it. How often should I be posting on social media?
I get this question a lot too, and it really is just up to you. The number one thing is the consistency part. I mentioned the snowball effect,
Well, I
and
can say once a week ain't gonna get it.
once a week's not going to get it, but if once a week's what you got to start with to at least start building that habit, then I would do once a week. I start, our bottom package is 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but the consistency is the main thing. So like
I post once a day.
even if it is once a week, like stick to that for, a month, post 4 videos, maybe, 9 over the span of 90 days. And then once you get into kind of a rhythm, maybe you find something that's working, try to up it to 3 days a week and then 6 days a week, 7 days a week, and then maybe once or twice a day. But the consistency is the main thing. Don't be like, I'm going to post every single day and start this challenge for yourself over the next month. And that's just like you're going 0 to every single day. You're going to stress yourself out and you're not going to do it. Start with 3 and then just stay consistent for like 90 days and then up it from there.
And it doesn't have to be complicated when you're posting either. It can be, hey, here's here's my family, here's my dog, here's my car, here's my,
Yeah.
here's what I do during the day, here, this and that. It doesn't like when you see these like day in the life videos that are like super filmed and edited and stuff like that, you don't have to start
Yeah.
there.
You don't got to do that.
Like it's just like you can do something simple. I mean, introduce yourself.
Mhm.
Hey, by the way, I'm attorney Kevin. I'm a car accident attorney. If you need anything, let me know. I mean, it doesn't have to be like this whole
Yeah.
like viral production, and that's what I want to really get across from
Yeah.
people.
And a lot of people have good stuff in their camera rolls already that they can
Yeah.
turn into content.
So yeah, and again, like I post like every Thursday. I do a Throwback Thursday and stuff. That's
Mhm.
already there,
Yeah.
like already ready to go. How important is the follow up? Meaning, when you have comments, I don't when you say you post something and you get 50 comments and stuff. How important is that to interact with those people?
I would say it's very important, especially if you're selling something.
I think that's one of the big things that people miss.
A
Is
lot
like
of
I got
people
50
skip
comments,
that.
and it's like you could have 100 comments.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, I'll mention 2 things. When I started on TikTok, going back to the consistency thing, I was religiously fucking consistent. Like
Yeah.
when I found what started working, I was posting every day at 2 p.m. and 8 p.m., going live after the 8 p.m. post for like 3 hours. And then before bed, I would respond to every single comment from that day. Like, even if there was videos with 500 comments, I would still try to respond to every single fucking comment because
Mhm.
I was building a community and then I was also prompting people for conversation. So if somebody comments something about the video, like, how the hell did that even happen? I would take the time and, write something that would prompt a response from that person because then they would come back to my video. And while they're responding to the comment again, the video is playing in the background and that would count towards watch time. It would bring up my watch time average, which would then get the video pushed more after the fact. So sometimes people would come back, especially if there's arguments. My favorite thing is when people start fucking arguing in the comments because they'll go back there 100 times and they'll boost the hell out of that video. So one, do that for just the benefit of the post, prompt people for conversation and comments. But the second is it builds a community. It builds trust and rapport with the people that are watching your content. They see you as human, whereas a lot of the times, one of the biggest responses I would get is like, "Oh my God, I wasn't expecting this guy with 1 million followers to respond to my comment. Holy
That's
shit."
huge.
They would come back to every video and comment on every single video. I don't know really what it is about social media, but a lot of times when you do that, some of those people don't have friends in like person. So like they'll start seeing you as almost like a friend. It's kind of weird, but I built a whole community kind of it's not weird, but I built a whole community around this just from talking to people because then they'd come back to every single video and comment on that video. Like whether I would respond or not in the future, they would still do that because, I did something that, they maybe have never gotten or received before.
I think it's huge, and I think we've seen the engagement with the. I have started following the CEO of Instagram, like what works and what doesn't, and they put it out there. I mean, they're public about it, and they said views are one thing, but really what we care about is engagement. People spending
Yeah.
more time on the platform. So if they're spending more time, commenting and engaging and things like that, that's what the algorithm wants to see. I mean, that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, to break down the algorithm on every platform, like these platforms get paid the longer people are on their platforms
Correct.
because of, ad revenue. Like people, companies are paying these businesses to display their ads and get people to click them and watch them and stuff like that. So the longer any of these social platforms can keep you on the platform, the more one, they're gonna get paid, and two, they're gonna push your content. So when I was growing on TikTok originally, everybody was making 15-second dance videos, lip syncing videos. This is right when Musically transitioned into TikTok. And I came in, and at the time, the max video length was 60 seconds. I would max out the video length at 60 seconds just talking to the camera before anybody else did that. And that's part of the reason I went viral so quickly was because, my average watch time, sometimes it was 45 seconds. Whereas, on another video, somebody might only have somebody for 11 to 15 seconds. TikTok was pushing the hell out of that because I was keeping people on their platform. And that's all you really need to know about getting content to perform well. The longer you can get people to watch your content and stay on the platform, the better.
For businesses, obviously, we've talked about going viral many times. It's not important for them to go viral. It's more important about the sales that come from going viral. So
Mm.
talk about that kind of analysis and how that kind of works.
Yeah. So,
It's like I don't want to be famous. I just want to sell more stuff.
yep. Yep.
Or I don't care about being famous rather.
First and foremost, I don't necessarily think virality is ever bad for businesses. If you have a business that can take advantage of traffic anywhere in whether it's the country or the
Was it
world,
no such thing as bad press?
no such thing as bad press. And if you have a business that can take advantage of anything in the world, using overtime as an example,
Except if you're in the Epstein files. That
yeah,
may
that might be a problem.
That's a problem. No politics. That was bad. Shame on me. Go ahead. It's funny.
I mean, if we want to go down there, I'll go
No,
down
we're
there.
100% not even going close down. I don't
Nah.
want this video to get taken down before.
No, but
But yeah, I mean, you were talking about, obviously, no bad press is bad press. Going viral can lead to more followers if they stick around.
it's also more
Yeah.
opportunities. So, like,
Yeah.
if you have a business that can take
It's all
advantage
about
of it,
touches at the end of the day.
yeah. If you have a business that can take advantage of all that traffic, then you're good. You don't got nothing to worry about. But if you don't, maybe you're like using overtime. They were originally a brick and mortar here in Tampa. And because we went so viral, they're like, we need to fucking find a way to take advantage of this. They launched telehealth. So now they service all 50 states in the United States. And the only reason that came about was because of the social media success. Originally, they were planning on going, the game day men's health route where they were going to franchise different locations. But it all changed when we started doing well on social media. So that's one thing. If you can find a way to take advantage of all the traffic, I recommend launching something, whether it's, you're in the same
Larger.
industry and you do telehealth
Yeah.
or you're selling info products, whatever it is, tutorials, a private community, something, do that. The other thing to worth mention is if you can't take advantage of that traffic, um, I got two more things to mention.
Well, let me before you go, and not to cut you off, but like if you look at selling the leads. Like our buddy, our Radion, it's
Yep.
good homie. He's in the roofing or the painting business and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Eventually, you get enough traffic where you can just sell the leads
Yeah.
to other companies.
I
So it's
didn't
like if
yeah.
you're in the roofing business or you're in the plumbing business, and it's like, hey, we're getting a ton of traffic in Georgia.
Mhm.
You can just find local companies and
Find a
say,
partner.
hey, I
Yeah.
got people ready to rock and roll. Give me X amount of lead, and he's crushing it. Great
Yeah.
dude.
I haven't thought about that before, but
Yeah, so you could
that's an
definitely sell
excellent
the
point.
lead. So
So if you're a business that can't take advantage of all the traffic, there's two things I want to mention. One is only applicable to you guys. You need to be running Facebook ads. Like if you're making content, like I said, on social media, I would recommend taking your current funnel and funneling all pre-existing clients and leads to your social media because those are going to act as touch points, as you mentioned. Normally, you got to touch somebody 6 to 8 times to get them to sell. If you're paying for meta ads, that's going to get relatively expensive. But if you're paying for meta ads 1 or 2 times and funneling people to your Instagram, where now for free you're staying in front of their face, that still acts as touch points. So they're going to convert a lot quicker. And
I
then
don't even give people my business card anymore when I'm at
yeah, just send
networking
them to
events.
Instagram.
I do. Yeah. I just have
Mhm.
the QR code. I put it on the back of or on my phone as my
Yeah.
screensaver or whatever, and my home screen. And I
Yep.
just have them go and follow me on Instagram
Yep.
now, and I follow them back. I
Because it
don't even.
nurtures them. It
Yeah. I
nurtures them.
mean, it's a waste of time. And then they get to like kind of doom scroll through my stuff and like, oh, this is who Kevin is. He's,
Yeah.
an all right guy and stuff.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's the thing. Business cards if you're still using business cards in 2026, you should
I've
probably
never used them.
talk to Anthony.
I've
Yeah.
never used business cards. I just
Yeah.
send everybody to Instagram.
I would.
That's where
Yeah.
all my businesses come from. We just
Exactly.
started doing started building out the paid lead funnel on the back end, but for the last 3 years, only referrals and word of mouth.
I don't blame you. Or
Yeah.
rather, I don't blame you. I'm not surprised. So,
Yep.
and
And
then you had
then
a third one. I keep
yep,
interrupting you.
the last thing, this is applicable for everybody. If you're trying to convert any of the social media into, paying customers, there's another content style that I want to mention that you should implement after the first one I mentioned earlier in this podcast. And that is going into making, 6 specific content styles, right? And I might have to pull my phone out if I don't remember these. But the first one is educational content. Anything that is informing the audience of something. It could be myths versus facts. It could be this is how you properly inject your TRT or how you properly do a Windsor tie with a suit. The next is going to be double down content. When you started the first strategy, you're going to figure out what starts working. And when you figure out what starts working, you need to double down on that content, no matter what it is. You need to be remixing it, switching the hooks and the titles in the first 3 seconds. Maybe you swap out the B-roll in the first 3 seconds, and you're reposting those videos that have already performed well because you're going to just take advantage of that asset that you already have. Third, authority content. This is case studies, testimonials, personal transformations, client transformations, anything that establishes you as an authority within your space. With me, we were talking about the event I spoke at. I made a video that, whether it performed well or not, I needed to make a video of me speaking on stage because having that on my marketing page and just for people to go see adds a
Massive.
layer of authority, to my expertise and my niche. The next is going to be series content. Okay, this is, 30-day X challenge. We were talking about 75 hard. Maybe you make 75 videos documenting every single day of you doing 75 hard. There's a kid on Instagram blowing up right now that's doing day 1 of door dashing every day until I can buy my wife a wedding ring.
Following the guy that's, I think he's putting away like a nickel or a dime
Mhm.
every day. And for every comment, I think it's $1
Yep.
for, until he buys a house.
Yeah,
Dude's at
it's a good
$72,000.
one.
And then I followed it, which is, or something crazy. And,
Yeah.
kind of a knucklehead or what. It seems nice, but kind of a knucklehead. But I'm like, I'm following this dude.
Yep.
And then the other girl I started following out of nowhere, which was crazy. I don't
Mhm.
know why I followed it, but I thought it was interesting. She was trying to save up for a down payment for a house, and she was picking up trash on the side of the road every day.
Yeah.
And she was like, Ed, picking up trash every day until I get enough,
Yep.
views to say. And she like $3,000
Yeah.
in like a month.
That's crazy.
Not even there was zero cost. She's just
Mhm.
walking around her neighborhood picking up trash.
Yeah, you can start a series doing anything.
So crazy.
There's another kid that's trying to dig through a cement wall with a spoon. Like every single day he's making a video of him scraping this brick wall or whatever with a metal spoon and just
Nothing wrong,
documenting trying to
businessman.
dig through it. So those are random cases, but if you have a series like with your business, maybe it's like day
Dude,
one.
but we just mentioned like 3 of them.
Yeah, we just mentioned a
yeah,
bunch. So
yeah.
that should give you ideas. But like if you like using overtime, like day 1 of trying testosterone replacement therapy and then documenting your journey on that. But start a series because it allows people to invest into your brand, invest into what you got going on. And Instagram is like pushing that heavily right now. And part of how the algorithm works again is if you're watching content and you're watching the full video, especially, you're going to get shown more of that content. So anytime you make a video, that next video in the series is going to get shown to the same audience. There's this kid that I'm not gonna say what the series was because it was kinda inappropriate for this, but it was a very funny series, and I didn't follow the kid, but I still managed to watch every single episode of this
Yeah,
series because it just got funneled back to me.
it's crazy.
Going on to number 5 of the content styles, entertainment content. This is skits, this is trends, this is lifestyle edits, reaction content, stitch content, just anything that's purely entertaining. A lot of the times, this is also what's going to bring in the most eyeballs, and those other ones I've mentioned are just going to help nurture and build trust and rapport with the audience that's funneling in. And then number 6, if I can remember number 6, storytelling content. Going back to what I said earlier, turning what you're doing on a regular basis into something consumable online is like the number one form of storytelling content anybody should be doing. You could also just talk to the camera like I did and tell stories.
I
But
do that.
those are the 6 you should be doing. If you do all 6 of those consistently and you just kind of alternate through them every single week, whoever's following you is going to just turn into a paying customer in the future. I fucking guarantee it.
How do you feel about, and I've gotten it a couple times before, when you like somebody's video and and you immediately send a message and connect with them if you have the time to do it. Hey, thanks so much for liking my video or things like that. I mean, or should you spend more time on? Is it? How do say this the right way? Because it all kind of flows into one. Should you spend more time creating content to build an audience, or should you spend more time nurturing the audience that you're creating?
I think there's a happy medium. Going back to what we said about responding to comments, I think just engaging with your community every day and making a specific time block in your day to do that is super important. In terms of trying to sell them, like, whether it's somebody likes your video and you initially message them or somebody follows you and you initially message them, you got to be really careful about how you do that. Something we tested for a while with MiniChat was they recently came out with an automation where if somebody follows you, it'll auto send them a message and you can kind of make this whole
That's
workflow
what I was kind of
automation around that.
initiating. Yeah,
Um, it comes off, in my opinion, and just from what we've tested, comes off super robot-y and just not authentic.
too salesy.
And the issue is everybody gets spam DMs with a bunch of editors and, graphic designers from India or the Middle East or stuff nowadays. So it'll just get immediately put in like your requested folder and probably browsed over. Something that we saw that's a lot more beneficial is you can still use that automation where somebody follows you and you send them a message, but instead of asking them, to go to this link or sign up for this ebook or here's this free offer, just send them another video that they think that or that you think they would like. Like whether it's your most viral video, be like, hey, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Like, here's a piece of content that you would enjoy based off of what you've been watching so far. And then just send them a link to like your top performing video. And what that's going to do is obviously it's going to drive traffic to whatever that piece of content is. Maybe you can strategically set it up to where that piece of content is another piece of content that you actually have a call to action on, where maybe you do give them a free ebook or free thing to get them into your system. But it's a lot more authentic rather than just asking them to do something up front. You're giving them a piece of content that they would most likely watch based off of, if you're making an account talking about social media tips and tricks, and that's why they followed you. You're like, hey, here's this crazy hack that just came out this month on Instagram, or here's this algorithm update. And then in that video, if you want to have a call to action, you can. Otherwise, you can just make it a normal video and they just kind of keep watching your content that way.
One of the things we see a lot, and want you're the expert to be able to caution people, is you see somebody with 100,000 followers, and then you go to their last 5 posts, and it's an average of 200 posts. So tell everybody or caution everybody rather on the BS followers.
Oh, okay. So this is an interesting topic because honestly, here's my thing. So like I have 100,000 followers on Instagram or whatever now. Most of those came from TikTok back in the day where they funneled over. They're all legit. I promise you, have all the proof. But sometimes my videos just fucking flop.
He's got the receipts, man.
I got the receipts.
Okay.
But sometimes the videos just don't do well. Like if I'm making something out of the blue, maybe it'll get shown to, 5% of my followers and it won't get pushed in the algorithm whatsoever. But then another video will get 300,000 views. So sometimes I alternate between, 4 or 5,000 views on videos that just don't do well. And then the next video will get 300,000 views.
Mhm.
So it does alternate a lot. The easiest way to tell if a profile is like bullshit, if we're talking about fake engagement or fake followers, is every single post, like over the last like 50 posts, all like just have no comments, no likes, no nothing. They're just fucking ass. That's one sign. The other sign that's really popular nowadays, and a lot of business owners are doing this, and I very much stress that you don't do this, is paying for like likes and views
The
and
spam comments too. Yeah,
Spam
yeah.
comments.
Like just the fire symbol or the hands up in the air over
Yeah,
and
we
over
can,
and over and
yeah.
over. Yeah.
I could talk about this all day, dude. But like in terms of spotting whether it's fake or not, the views are always going to range in a very close net of each other. Like for example, like if I'm paying for views, every single one of my videos over the last 100 is going to have 40,000 to like maybe 50,000 views. Like it's all going to be in the same range. very close. It's not going to be sporadic. The likes are also going to be very close to each other. Like one might have 1,300, the next might have 1,326, 1,250. Like it's all in that kind of same range. And then the comments now are kind of being tough because now you can actually send comments to posts that are themed around a specific message using AI. So like I can write out a comment that's like, "Oh my god, this post was so sick, dude. Like keep it up." And then it's going to essentially plug in AI and generate 100 different variations of that one comment and send them, and they're all going to be kind of themed around whatever that post is. Most people are not dumb. They can spot that in the comment section, know when it's like an engagement group or something like that. But the tough part is, with the views and the likes, and there are so many business owners doing that nowadays. It's insane.
It's crazy, yeah.
Do not do it because if you're making your own content and you're paying for engagement, you're wasting all your time because it's immediately killing it in the algorithm. As soon as you send likes and views to it, it's not going to get pushed. If you have fake followers and you're thinking about buying fake followers for credibility and then you make a post, half of the people that see the content originally are going to be from the algorithm, like non-followers, and then half of them are going to be followers. And if half the people that are your followers are also fake, they're not going to watch it. Or if they followed you to win a Tesla, they're going to scroll right past it. And that's telling Instagram your own people don't like your shit, so we're not going to push it in the algorithm, and your content's still dead in the water. So you're wasting your time if you're making content and doing that. And if you're a business owner paying somebody to make content for you, whatever money you're spending on them, you're burning, and you can happily send it to me instead. We'll put my Zelle in the description. I will take your money because that will essentially be doing you the same thing.
Absolutely. I get it. I get it. So, as you can see, Anthony knows all of the tricks and tips that go along with making sure that your social media is optimized correctly. So, the last thing that I'll ask you is, where can people find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Anthony Bertoncin, Bertoncin. Instagram is Anthony Bertoncin. TikTok is just Bertoncin. If you want to go check out some funny shit, most of my businessy stuff is going to be on the Instagram. And then our website is Lighthouse for Others, and that's FOR, not the number 4. So lighthouseForOthers.com if you're interested in learning more about my agency or the different services that we offer to different business owners.
Well, I'm going to make sure that all of that is tagged in the description below. Anthony's absolutely fantastic. Your TE talk was amazing. Thank you so much for providing. Anthony charges a lot of money every month to his clients to give the information that he just gave to you for free, which is absolutely insane. So I was really excited about this one. I really want you guys to take advantage of this. And if you can't get it figured out or want to have a professional and expert do it for you, make sure you hit up my boy Anthony. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you like and subscribe. And as always, it is no accident that Anthony is as successful as he is. Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you,
See
brother.
you guys soon.
I appreciate you.
Be good.